Throughout our lives, we've experienced the unexplainable, from bright apparitions to dark entities, changing our perspectives on the afterlife. Now we seek answers and intend to capture evidence of paranormal existence. These are our paranormal experiences. Willow Court. Willow Court is a part of the former Royal Derwent Hospital. It is Australia's oldest continuously run asylum, beginning from 1827 and operating until the year 2000. Throughout its 173-year existence as an asylum and hospital, it has become a place of controversy and mystery. Although this asylum, like any other institution of its kind, had good intentions, the location became known for the mistreatment of patients. While stories of an elusive underground network of tunnels is said to still exist, the mystery, history, and controversy has attracted many people, ranging from archaeological groups to paranormal teams. Paranormal experiences. During our numerous investigations of the site, which includes buildings such as the Ladies Cottage, morgue, nurses' quarters, barracks, A ward, and C ward, we've encountered both malevolent and innocent spirits. Our most profound paranormal experiences have taken place within the Ladies Cottage, and they range from mysterious and elusive voices to strange apparitions. Although our most dangerous investigation was on the shadow figure behind the stairs. Hello everyone, and today we're going to be talking about our paranormal experiences at the Ladies Cottage. Now, we're probably going to start off with some of the more full-on investigations we've done in thorough, and that's going to be the Shadow in the Dark, and that's the episode series title. But for people who don't know that, we encountered something behind the stairs at the Ladies Cottage, and it wasn't very nice. So this is Ben, by the way, and he's going to talk about some of the stuff that's happened to him, and then we'll just go from there.
Throughout our investigations at the Ladies Cottage, we discovered a thing behind the stairs that eventually gained power in a way. Every time we visited, we would go back there and we'd see what it wanted, what it was, who was it exactly. And out of nowhere it got nasty. That was kind of probably my bad of telling it to come out type thing. It wasn't anything to do with provoking. It was more like, really trying to ask it to come out and, tell us, what the go is.
Yeah, what you want, who you are, and if it did eventually tell us who or what it was, although it gave us a few names, and we're not too sure if not sure if there's multiple entities behind the stairs, or it's just this one nasty entity, and it's pretending to be this spirit called Robert. Now, Robert said he was trying to protect us on one of the nights, and he's been around a few times since, but we're not entirely sure if Robert is who they say they are, or if they're actually in fact a nasty spirit, because every time we talk to Robert, he points us or wants us to go downstairs, behind the stairs itself, where the real bad malevolent entity is. So what's one of the proper experiences, like what happened to you and we did encounter on one of the occasions?
Probably the most rememberable thing was when I was asking you to come out and you were there with me. The room got really dark.
Yeah, that was on one of the tours.
Yeah, it got darker than dark.
So it was like a full moon outside, and there's no clouds or anything like that. And we knew there was no clouds. We just been outside, and after the particular event, we went outside again, and there was no clouds. There was nothing. It was like a low sort of fog. But that was about it. It was very light, low fog.
Yeah, and then suddenly out of nowhere we hear like growling, like not like human type, like yelling.
It's like a deep kind of
it was like
deep,
really deep
growl,
moan type thing, and I don't know, it just went downhill from there really.
Yeah, it definitely came out when we asked to come out and interact with us. Again, it went dark as dark. There was an intense feeling, and I think someone got rushed up top of the stairs.
They did.
That also happened first. Something or someone rushed up on this guy at the top of the stairs. Now this guy was a skeptic. He didn't believe in it, and I think he changed his mind after that because something rushed up on him. So
he jumped.
He jumped up. And I think he made a bit of a screamy noise.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
And then after that, that's when we had the growls. Now, when we first encountered this sort of thing, now we're going a bit back and forth, but that's okay. That's all right. When we first encountered it, we didn't know what it was, and that's why we did the investigations. But we encountered it because Dr. Dave, one of the spirits at the Ladies Cottage, told us about this thing downstairs, this particular entity. And that was a very nasty entity that he was scared of it. And Dr. Dave is he's not really scared of anything. He normally stands over you and talks to you. If he doesn't like you, he's that sort of character.
Yeah,
so I can't imagine him being overly scared of anyone except this one nasty entity. So if he's nasty, that particular other entity must be pretty nasty for him to not like.
Yeah, God, yeah.
When I first encountered it, I wasn't wearing any form of protection, and we didn't sage ourselves afterwards, and I got 3 distinct scratches down the side of my neck, right here. And after that day, I came back home, and I felt real crap. It was like a feeling, like a draining feeling while being angry at everything. I was very agitated and very angry for a few days, and then it wore off, and I was alright. And you had something similar to that.
Yeah, but it was more intense. It lasted for nearly a fortnight, and it was about a week and a half into it until I asked for help. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to leave the house. But yeah, Martin helped me out, and I want to probably give an official thank you to Martin for helping me out of that hole I was in.
Now there's another event that happened as well besides those other 2 that we've mentioned so far, and that is when there was myself, Ben, and Percival Craig. He owns TMH and does the tours and stuff there. We were down at the bottom of the stairs and trying to interact once again with this particular dark entity, and this particular entity kept following Ben. Now it was like on his back. It seemed like it was on his back, because every time we would get our instruments, EMF meters, K2s, that millimeters, all those sort of things, all those things that detect EMF, all of them would detect something on the top bit of his back. And we think that every time Ben's around these particular entities or spirits, they feel like they can use his energy and communicate a lot more easier than if they were trying to drain me of energy. Ben's, I don't know, a bit more open for some reason, and they seem to be attracted more to him than a lot of us. Which is a good thing and bad thing. Now, this particular entity was draining Ben at the same time we were trying to communicate, and it's just, again, every time we would use our devices near Ben's back or person, it just went ballistic. Like we were getting 20, 25 plus milligauss readings, and that's off the scale on the K2. The K2 only does about 25, I think, 25, 30 by memory. So it was quite powerful, this particular entity. Now, we were following it around downstairs, and it got this very intense feeling that something's around us. And it was following Ben. Ben was walking around, and again we were following around. And then at one point, I think we cornered this particular entity, and he wasn't on your back. This whatever it was, he was in this corner, and all of our devices were picking up on this particular entity. Shortly afterwards, it increased in activity, and we tried to head back behind the stairs. Something rushed up towards Ben. There was like a sort of force of energy, like something rushing up on him.
Yeah, it's strange. Like I've never felt anything like it, and it was to the point where it almost felt like a physical push, like on my chest, and it sort of just filled me with like this electrifying energy type thing. The shockwave sent me back,
Yeah.
1 or 2 feet.
Yeah, I remember.
It was so like it was just electrifyingly cold, and it was and I don't know, I felt
It freaked you out.
I felt bad after that. I'm like, he's getting really annoyed, he's getting angry, but
And then Craig and Ben stayed sort of behind us after he felt that push of energy that rushed up on him, and then Craig and myself went in front of Ben, and then we had the rook meter out, and I think also this is the K2, and we were going back behind the stairs, and I looked at a room to the left just before you get behind the staircase itself, and I felt this pulsating energy, and my rook meter was picking up on this particular entity, and it was like pulsating, and I felt that sort of same, the thing that was, it was pulsating on the EMF meter, but I felt it also pulsating in my body, and it started in my arm, left arm, which I was holding the rook meter with, and then it started to get stronger and pulsate, and started to hit me in the chest, and it was the most weirdest sensation I've ever felt. I haven't felt anything like it since, and it was very powerful. And shortly after, I think Ben said he could feel like a pulsating kind of energy at the same time, so it's kind of backing it up. And I think that, and then the next point was the K2, which wasn't anywhere near me. It was Craig had it in his own hand next to me. It was picking up on this energy that was fluctuating and getting stronger and stronger. Then it sort of just died out after that. I don't think we really got anything more after that particular event, which was just very strange.
No, it was definitely a first.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of other experiences that have happened in the Ladies Cottage, and they can range from just sort of basic EVPs where we're catching Mandy's voice, which is of a little girl, and that alone is kind of creepy. We've captured Dr. Dave's voice numerous times. Another kind of voice that I've heard, and there's no one there, is when we were doing an investigation, and we're upstairs. Sam and Ben were in another room, and I was in another room with a few other people just down the hallway, and they told this particular nurse, or supposed nurse, to go and was it laugh or whisper?
Yeah, I was communicating with the dowsing rods that I'm surprisingly naturally good at communicating with these spirits, and I told her to go along to the end room where Stan was, and a couple of other people, and to tell them something, just do something, let them know that you are there, and they didn't know about it. They didn't know that I asked the question, or asked them or her to do that. And yeah, what did you get?
I was in the doorway, and I heard to my left, outside into the hallway, it was like like a female laughing. And it was really creepy because this guy also in front of me heard it, and he's like, "Did you hear that?" I'm like, "Yes, I heard it." And that was pretty full on, because it was just, where did it come from? Everyone else is in the room with me, and we've got 2 other guys up in another room up the hallway, and they don't sound like females, so it's like, yeah, it's a bit strange. Another thing that was probably more full on was the apparition that I saw, and Ben was there too. And I've told this story a few times now, but it's so prominent in my experiences that I've had at the Ladies Cottage. It's hard not to talk about it.
And you'll never forget it.
It was really creepy. I saw this particular. We was just setting up. So at the start of the night, we were just setting up for the investigation. And we were setting up cameras to connect and all those bits and pieces. And I just decided to get the night vision camera out. It was about 9:30, so it wasn't, and it was about summer as well in Tassie, so it's got daylight saving, so it doesn't really get dark until about that time. So it's not quite dark, but
it's like just coming.
It's in the middle. It's becoming night time, and I got my night vision camera out. I was just panning one of these rooms, and I see something catch my eye, and I thought it was a bit of dust at first, which it still could have been, but I saw this supposedly piece of dust go up the hallway, and I'm like, that's a bit strange. It would have normally it would have gone out of view by now. It would have it would have passed the lens, even if it was heading straight away from the lens in that sort of direction. It probably would have, you wouldn't be able to see. It would have disappeared. because I was standing at the other end, and it at least got about 5 meters away from me, and it still wasn't disappearing. So I'm like, that's kind of strange, and it looks it's moving erratically. It's not windy or anything like that. It's not drifting slowly. So I was like, I'll just follow it. Why not? And I followed it. It went into this room, probably about 8 meters up the hallway, something like that.
Yeah, roughly.
And then I turned right and went into the doorway. I was looking through my camera's viewfinder to see where it went. And below I don't think you actually get to see it. We try. I thought at first I captured it, but I'm pretty sure it's this Parley or you with a light, and it's just it's just reflecting on the lens, so it's giving an illusion that there's something in front of the camera. Although we're not entirely certain, but I think that's what it is. But anyway, I saw something probably about waist high come sort of just appear in front of me, and I see it in my eyes because I looked down from the viewfinder, and I jump back as it's walking into me, and Ben and Harley see this. What did you see?
It was like a half body apparition. So like from the lower torso, roughly downwards, it was like sort of like it was see-through. Like it was like a half apparition of legs walk out of the room. But anything above the legs was like a sort of just like a misty ball of just nothing really. It's just a misty ball of just mist. And then just the legs just walk out into you. And then you step back, and it's and then it just disappears after you stepped out. Back from the door.
Yeah, I think that night was relatively quiet, but when we did review the footage, we captured a lot of EVPs of Mandy. Beforehand, we were trying to get Mandy to come out as well while we were setting up, just talking to her. If you want to communicate, that's fine. We can get you some toys if you like, because she really likes toys. So just trying to get her to do something for us and communicate with us and feel comfortable. And she really likes toys and such, so, and yeah, I think we had a doll that we were going to get for her if she was going to communicate, and it may have been her, but it could have been just a residual apparition. It's just appearing at a certain time, perfect conditions, and that's what I saw. So we don't know if it's anyone intelligent, someone intelligent haunting. It was just a residual kind of haunting. But anyway, it was still kind of freaky to see.
Yeah, that was my first time I've seen an apparition.
Beechworth Asylum. Beechworth Asylum, or Mayday Hills Lunatic Asylum, was built in 1867 and was the fourth asylum constructed within the state of Victoria. During its 127 years of operation, it became known as one of the largest functioning asylums in the Victorian state. At its peak, Mayday Hills consisted of 67 buildings and was home to over 1,200 patients and 500 staff. Much like our own Royal Derwent Hospital, Beechworth Asylum became self-sufficient, surrounded by 106 hectares of farmland including orchards, kitchen gardens, fields, stables and a barn. For recreation purposes, Beechworth included an oval, kitchen pavilion, tennis courts, a kiosk and even a theatre. Paranormal experiences. During our overnight investigation of the asylum back in September, you could feel the site's energy. You could feel the past, the emotion, the experiences of people long gone. While the place possessed this eerie energy, the residing spirits were shy at first, taking their own time to observe us as we asked questions and conducted experiments. However, after moving from building to building, we began investigating the criminally insane for men's sections. After 10 minutes of investigating, Mr. Bloxham's phone began to take pictures erratically by itself. Trying to debunk this as some form of malfunction, the phone continued to take pictures. Later, the tour guide that was escorting us around the complex would explain that the spirits have learned to manipulate phones and use them. Continuing, we heard strange noises behind us, which sounded like a voice. This made us even more eager to pursue whatever was trying to communicate with us. After conducting a vibration and movement experiment with the Ovilus 5, the ventilation fan began rotating unpredictably, without any known causes. When we noticed the scraping noise of the fan vent, it shuddered to a quick stop without winding down. Again, the tour guide would later confirm that the spirits within the criminally insane for men section would learn how to push the fans before suddenly stopping them. Throughout the rest of the night, things began to die down. However, the next day, two of the owners of Beechworth Asylum told us about their own paranormal experiences and how they often would see solid figures in old dress acting out their daily lives before vanishing just as quickly as they appeared. The Bush Inn. The Bush Inn is situated in Norfolk, and it is a typical English 19th century styled inn. The inn was constructed in 1815 and has operated for 202 years, making it Australia's oldest continuously run inn. The building was among the few substantial structures within colonial New Norfolk, and it catered not only for wanderers and travellers, but for practicing Methodists, local officials, and business groups. There are a few well-known visitors to the inn, which include John and Lady Franklin in 1837, as well as the famous opera singer Dame Melba in 1924. The inn is also supposed to be connected to the nearby Royal Derwent Hospital via a network of underground tunnels. Locals believe that these tunnels were used to transfer patients into the asylum in order to keep the patients out of the eye of the public. Paranormal experiences.
So the Bush Inn was probably one of the first, it was one of the first haunted hotels that we've done. Yeah, the Bush Inn was very, very good to investigate, and so we kind of recommend it as a place that you could investigate straight off the bat. Originally, wanted to investigate room 6, but our plans kind of expanded when the managers were like, "Oh, you can go investigate the whole entire place. No one can be here," which is really good. There was no one there except for one person who was an on-site staff member, and we didn't hear her all night, so that was really good. It was more everything coming together in the end. So for example, on the obelisk and the spirit box, we got things related to medical help, like the spirits there wanted help, wanted medicine. We even caught coughs and stuff on cameras, so like if someone's sick, they need medicine, they need help, and we got that throughout the entire night. So that's outside room 6, where the spirits there. We even captured them on Connect in the hallway and in room 6. So they physically appeared, and they told us they need medicine, it's starting to come together, because the investigation is all about gathering data and experimentation repetitively to see if you're going to get the same result or a different result. But we can sort of confirm that what we were doing was, it got a lot of data. We got visual, we got audio, we got the EMF readings, and it sort of came together. There's something definitely there. In room 6, the place we wanted to investigate first, a notorious room for something happening in there. We were setting up the Connect, and the thing that next happened was something actually came up on the Connect, and we're only just testing it. We weren't even investigating it. Again, we're just setting up all this gear, including the Connect, and it was faced towards this particular chair in the room, and then all of a sudden something appeared in the chair above Harley, who was sitting in this chair in room 6. And it was sort of like over him. So Harley's here, and it was something standing over him, and he started to feel the effects of whatever was standing over him, which is another sort of validation. So maybe there's something there.
He got really got cold on the where the place where on the side of the body where it was hovering over. Pretty sure he got goosebumps too.
Yeah, he got goosebumps.
All his hairs were starting to stick up and that stuff.
The next sort of thing we got was we had to sort of rush to get a camera because we were using. I think Ben, you were using a phone.
Yeah, I had to get out my phone just to record the screen because we weren't prepared for it.
So as that was happening, I rushed out of the room 6 into room 7, so just across the hallway to grab a camera and the bits and pieces. Rushed back in, and Harley's up out of the chair, but this figure's still next to the chair, and he's got his K2 out, and the K2 is actually picking up on this particular entity, whatever it is. Now we always do sweeps before EMF sweeps before we could be doing our investigation, just because you never know what's going to contaminate the gear. So anyone who's planning on doing any form of investigation, always do EMF sweeps and look for any other sources of possible contamination. Even sort of Wi-Fi router, anything that does sort of that, phones, they will give you false positives. Now we didn't have our phones. We have our phones on flight mode, or just turn them off or leave them in the car or something like that. So that's what we usually do. We did have an EMF pump in the room, but we tested the distance between what the K2 would pick up, and like I think you had to be quite close.
Yeah, I think like the distance that the K2 picked up on it was about 30 centimeters away from the EM pump. So
and then it sort of cut out. Now, if I had the rook meter out, that would pick it up in the entire room because the rook meter is that sensitive. But because we were in a place that we had still electricity in it and it had stuff still running, you couldn't really use the rook meter. We had to use the K2. The K2 is perfect for that because it's not over the top sensitive. It's sensitive enough. We also did some experimentation in room 6. We left people, so a bit of some isolation experiments. And we left, I think you went in the room, and so did Kevin. I went in the room for a time, but we'll start off with what you felt in room 6 when we left you by yourself.
As time went on, I suppose, I think it just got heavy in a way over how long was I in there for?
I think it was about
half an hour.
Half an hour to 40 minutes. So it wasn't overly long because I think you were. But you didn't like it.
No, it gradually got heavier, and then you start to feel. Well, I start to feel sick, like headaches and just the want to vomit type thing. And then you just feel tired and you just couldn't. It just felt terrible. A lot of sadness in a way as well.
I think Kevin felt a little bit like that too.
Yeah.
I think he felt exactly the same.
Yeah,
because
he copped it a bit harder than me.
Because I went in there when he was over the walkie-talkie and he was telling me that I need you to come up here. So I rushed up there and I had like the head cam on.
Yeah.
And I rushed in there and he's just not feeling well. He went sort of weird.
Yeah, it's like not.
I think also another thing that we captured in there, while Kevin was in there during the isolation experiment, was some music. Do you remember that? There's like some old time music, like I think it was like a, if you had one of those, you wind them up and they play music back to you. It's like old time.
The music boxes.
Yeah. I think it was something like that, and it was just strange because we were there by ourselves. There's no one else. It's a Sunday. No one's having any parties on the Sunday around us. Yeah, that was strange. I remember that now. That was another weird thing that we captured as well. We went back to the bush inn for our second investigation. We didn't capture the same exact things we did on the first one. It was more EMF reading. So we were walking up on the upstairs floor, and we had an EDI on the stairs, and we had a REM pod on the bottom sort of stairs. And they started going ballistic when we were going back and forth. Like the ED or EDI was picking up on EMF readings, was picking up some sort of EMF field, and that was constantly going off. And then as we sort of went past the stairs, the REM pod downstairs started to go ballistic.
Yeah.
And we've been trying to debunk it, like as us stepping and stuff like that. And it could have been us. Our vibrations, us walking around, setting it off, but it sometimes went off and no one was like directly, no one was moving or anything like that, so it's a bit hard as well to judge if that was the case. But even so, EDI, that wouldn't have went off like that, because it does do vibration and stuff, but it doesn't make a noise for it. It registers in its SD card, all the data and stuff, and it's got like some orangey flashing lights that tell you how much vibration is occurring at that particular time. Yeah. So that was quite an experience. And when that was happening, I heard something in the bathroom. It sounded like a door moving or something inside the bathroom. And I rushed in there and there was nothing there. There was like nothing had moved. It was very strange noise. Like I don't even know if it was a door, but it sounded like something like rubbing, really like one sort of stroke, like a noise kind of thing. And I rushed in there. Like it may have just been the wind, but it's a pretty enclosed bathroom.
Yeah, from memory, there's no open windows.
I think there's no windows that you can open, but it's got one of those bathroom slit.
Oh, the venty things with the windows. Yeah.
And it's possible that it could slightly push the door open. But I think I did test the doors and I couldn't really get any to make the same exact noise. But you never know. It could have been